Hello, everybody, and welcome into our Race Hub studio. I'm John Roberts alongside of Bobby Labonte, Jeff Hammond, a couple of guys who know a lot about racing at Talladega. We are presented by Polaris today, but you know what? Being that it's May the 4th, if any driver is going down to Talladega, we have to say, may the 4th be with them.
They'll need that.
They'll need that and more.
For sure.
I like Talladega for opportunity. Unfortunately, it could be an opportunity you don't want to see. But it's a great opportunity,
Exactly.
so I like Talladega for that reason.
I can say you've been on both sides of the opportunity, right?
I have been upside down and on the victory
I
lane.
understand it too. When it comes to Talladega, you're either real excited or you're trembling in your boots. And I don't care whether you're a driver or whether you're a crew chief, because you don't understand. Those cars that they're tearing up, those are our babies.
Yep, that's a big old freight train of cars, and anything can happen at any time.
Out of control.
Let's get you up to speed now. The Daily Fuel. Denny Hamlin's crew chief has been hit with a lug nut penalty after the Richmond race. NASCAR found a missing lug nut on the 11 car, and crew chief Mike Wheeler has been fined $10,000. Joey Logano's win at Richmond has been deemed encumbered by NASCAR. What that means is that because of a rear suspension violation found after the win, it won't automatically put Joey in the playoffs. Crew chief Todd Gordon was also suspended 2 races and fined $50,000. There's also a loss of 25 driver and owner points. This is the first time a win has been ruled encumbered in the Cup Series since NASCAR adopted this rule in 2016. So here's a little bit more on the rule. Not only does the win not apply to the playoffs, but the 5 playoff points earned are taken away. They get the win in the record books, they keep the check and the trophy, but this win no longer helps them in the postseason. So for more on this, let's go to Jeff Hammond. And Jeff, what were they messing around with?
Well, John, with the help of the Ford cutaway car, we're going to do our best to show you the area that they were looking at. We've taken the skin off. We're going to turn this car up here on its side and give you an area to look for. And this is the rear end of the car. This is how these truck arms are connected to the car itself underneath. And what we're talking about, and specifically, is when we take a look here a little bit closer of how the truck arms and the rear end is actually located and what they were doing. This is where the rear end is actually bolted to the truck arm. So what happens is NASCAR allows you to put lowering blocks in it as well as pinion shims, which affect the angle of the pinion, which can help you on certain short tracks. Now, what they have been accused of doing is manipulating this area either with the shims or not having it properly welded and secured, which NASCAR allows you to do. But if you get in there and start moving things around, which messes up the alignment that NASCAR allows you to have, that was probably where the penalty came from. And that's the biggest reason why Todd Gordon's got himself a vacation.
Well, Jeff, with the loss of 25 points, Logano drops from 4th to 5th in the current standings. The left side are the points before the penalty. The right side, the new position in the standings. Let's send it to Alan Cavana, who has a reaction from both Team Penske and the industry.
John, I asked today, and neither Joey Logano nor Todd Gordon were available for comment, but Team Penske did give us this statement, which reads, in short, we are disappointed by the notice. However, we do not plan to appeal the penalty. So that means crew chief Todd Gordon will not be in Talladega, instead replaced by team engineer Miles Stanley. And Logano's win does not count toward the playoffs. That is significant. As for the violation itself, this is about parts in the rear of the car moving that should not be moving. People around the sport told me today this is an issue teams have been chasing for the last few years. They push the limits, NASCAR makes a rule against it, and the cycle continues. Now for Logano and crew this time, it means leaving those valuable playoff points on the table.
Yeah, Alan, and valuable is exactly right. Bobby, what's your opinion when you hear this? Is this the right way to attack this penalty, and does a punishment fit the crime?
Well, I put down that, this is an area that NASCAR is all the teams mess with, trying to figure out how to get the best out of it. Driving these cars, if you can get a little bit of an advantage over somebody, and I think a lot of it just comes down to the rule is still kind of gray and the envelope is still open, and how the teams put that into place and really try to maximize the angle of the car, the skew of the car, and the driver wants that. And so, again, it's just an example of trying to push that envelope. And NASCAR has come up with encumbered that is really going to be it's going to wake up everybody, I think, to say, I don't think we want to be the encumbered guy next Monday. So, let's take a look at that. So NASCAR made an example of these guys, I believe, but that's just an area that teams work in.
You were right about that, and it's real scary what could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
How'd they find it, Jeff?
Probably in the teardown that they do back at the R&D Center for NASCAR. They went in there, they taken the cars apart, and they look at these areas, and they found something that was not to their liking, and that's the reason why this took so long for this rule to come, for this penalty to come out, even though it happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's a big penalty for this team because you can give them the monetary fines and the suspensions, but what really happens after that is the playoff points. That's what hurts.
No, not the playoff points. I really don't care about the 5 points. I want the guarantee
You want the
that tells
win.
me
You want the ticket
that
in.
I am in the playoffs. That's the key thing right now. You can recover, I think, for the 5 points, but you can't recover the fact you're not in right now.
Yeah, that is a key factor, and that's a huge loss right there. So, we'll see what happens if he doesn't win the rest of the year. Then what happens?
Yeah, and Bobby's talking about this is something we have never seen before to this degree. So it's scary. It's got everybody's attention right now. I promise you. Talked to a couple of crew chiefs this afternoon, and they're all sitting there saying, "Whoa, I don't want to be the next guy on that list."
So with the loss of that, when you're talking about NASCAR's biggest track, you certainly get some big numbers. 40 race cars hooked up in a 200-mile-an-hour freight train makes for danger at any moment. So let's crunch the Dega numbers with Shannon and Adam.
Trying to make sense of Talladega's stats is a bit like being in the actual race. The threat of chaos is always looming, and it could all go wrong at any point.
All right, so let's start with the man that has dominated the headlines over the last week. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will again be in the spotlight in Alabama, but for a very different reason.
Jr. has 6 career wins at the 2.66-mile superspeedway, the most of any active driver, and his personal best at any single track. All-time, Dale Jr. is tied for second with former teammate Jeff Gordon, trailing only Dale Sr.'s 10.
Victories aren't the only Dega category Earnhardt Jr. dominates in. His 12 top fives and 960 laps led are also tops among active drivers. If driver 88 stays out front for 40 laps on Sunday, he will become the 3rd driver in the history of the track to lead 1,000 laps, joining his father and Buddy Baker.
Unfortunately, recent history isn't necessarily in Earnhardt's favor. In his last 12 Dega starts, he has as many finishes outside the top 20, 6 as he has inside.
And Junior's biggest competition Sunday could come from a pair of Penske teammates.
In the last 10 races at Talladega, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano have combined to win half of them. If you throw Daytona into the mix, the 2 and 22 have won 6 of the last 10 restrictor plate races.
In fact, Ford as a whole has been dominating in the plate races recently, taking victories in 10 of the last 20.
But really, we all know these stats get thrown right out the window as soon as the big one hits.
Oh, that's going to be big! Big!
Oh, huge wreck.
Yeah, Shannon said that big one can make everything go right out the window. But when you look at the numbers for the Penske cars, Jeff, and you look at the fact that both their main crew chiefs will not be there this weekend, how big of a deal is that?
It is a big deal because, once again, it's all about communication. And these two guys, Todd Gordon and Paul Wolfe, have shown that they have the ability to make the right decisions at the right time and the right adjustments. That could hurt them in the long run, but you also don't want to forget they've got a lot of great engineers, and you've already heard some of the ones that have been promoted up to that position for this upcoming weekend. I think they'll be okay.
They have depth.
They got depth, and these two guys will work together. I think the 2 and the 22, they'll work together, and they'll show everybody, hey, you can take our crew chiefs, but you can't stop us.
Yeah, and I think, after this past weekend with the rear end issue for Joey, probably gives them some enthusiasm. Hey, we're going to go back down there and show that we can win. They'll take our car back, and they'll check it out. Everything will be fine. So it kind of gives them a little bit extra. And if I had to give the crew chief a couple weekends off, I'd give them Talladega off, too, because, that's kind of a good way to go.
Yeah,
I'd rather have you off there than, say, Charlotte.
I understand that. I do.
Yeah, so communication is the key there. They have depth in their organization, but also this is a pretty big event, and you need those guys around for support.
That's what you pay them for. That's the reason why they make the big bucks. You need to have them there. But when they're not, that's the reason why you build depth in your team.
Yeah, and all that will be forgotten as soon as they unload the car at Talladega. And we know several NASCAR drivers are huge Supercross fans and will probably be watching Saturday on FS1. It's the Supercross season finale, and a new champion will be crowned. A title battle between three-time champion Ryan Dungey and current leader Eli Tomac will be settled. Supercross from Las Vegas, Saturday at 10 Eastern on FS1. Coming up on the Hub, we'll take in part 2 of our Women in Wheels edition with Caitlin Vincey and Kelly Earnhardt Miller as she opens up about motherhood, her father, and Junior.
You know, I was going more to the business side of things, like, okay, if we're going to be out for a certain amount of time, or is this something that's going to take us out of, you know, the seat forever? And he and I had a blow up.
And we take a moment to remember our friend and former colleague Steve Burns as his legacy continues while giving back to a lucky student.
Changing your oil after 3,000 miles?
Kevin Harvick.
If you'd use new Mobil 1 annual protection, you wouldn't have to. It protects your engine for 1 year with just one oil change.
Don't change your oil. New Mobil 1 annual protection.
Man, this Ultimate Chicken Club really has it all.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
Premium chicken, the black peppercorn mayo, brioche bun.
Kind of reminds me of when I had it all.
Wait, what?
Free parking, pool I could use if other people weren't around, cable that I took from the nearest window, there was a wire that, oh man, I had it all.
Yeah, it sounds like your neighbor had it all.
Except for security system, so I never felt safe.
You too can have it all. The Ultimate Chicken Club is back, and get half-price shakes and new ice cream slushes after 8 p.m. This is how you Sonic.
New bike?
Yeah, because I got
Allstate. If you total your new bike, they replace it with a brand new one.
That's cool. I got a new helmet.
We know, Steve.
It's good to be in good hands.
Baseball Buzz, Thursday, May 4th. The Mets emojis.
My favorite emoji is the one where he looks like this. Because for me, it's a guy that's licking his lips. He's excited about the food he is about to enjoy.
The sunglasses one, just because, you know, this the guy playing it cool. I don't use emojis, actually. My texts are pretty boring. They're straight through. I don't even use periods or anything.
That's life. That's what people say. You're riding high in April and shot down in May.
That's life. You diet, you exercise. And if you still need help lowering your blood sugar, this is Jardiance. Along with diet and exercise, Jardiance lowers blood sugar and A1C in adults with type 2 diabetes. Jardiance is also the only type 2 diabetes treatment with heart, proven to reduce the risk of cardiovascular death in adults with type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration. This may cause you to feel dizzy, faint, or lightheaded, or weak upon standing. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. Symptoms include nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, and trouble breathing. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis or an allergic reaction. Symptoms of an allergic reaction include rash, swelling, and difficulty breathing or swallowing. Do not take Jardiance if you are on dialysis or have severe kidney problems. Other side effects are sudden kidney problems, genital yeast infections, increased bad cholesterol, and urinary tract infections, which may be serious. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you have any medical conditions. So talk to your doctor about Jardiance, the one and only type 2 diabetes treatment with heart. Visit Jardiance.com for a free consultation with a certified diabetes educator if you qualify.
Talladega. This one is a total minefield, but I've got it under control because only one driver has won at this track more than me, and we had the same name. You're all probably wondering, how did we figure it out? It's simple. This is Earnhardt Country.
The Geico 500, Sunday at 1:30 Eastern on Fox.
NASCAR Race Hub is presented by Polaris. Our beloved friend and colleague Steve Burns is remembered as a highly respected sports broadcaster and as a mentor to numerous producers and on-air personalities. His mentoring is continuing with the formation of the Steve Burns Memorial Broadcasting Award, in which the recipient receives $1,500 in scholarships, a trophy, and a paid internship with FS1. The award was given out last week to a very worthy recipient.
As the field comes around, every man on every crew up on the pit wall as we all stand up for Steve and stand up to cancer.
This is Dale Earnhardt from Martinsville Speedway with Steve. What's your last name, Steve? Burns.
Well, you're going to need your rain slickers and galoshes.
All right, let's go. Want to go? Let's go.
Well, today, July 23rd, the most awesome thing happened to me because Bryson Parker Burns was born. So, Bryson, you tell him to have an awesome night.
So today